The creators of Dexter filmed a completely different ending. An ending so dark, so perfect, that network executives buried it for 7 years. And when the truth finally came out? The karma that hit those executives was something straight out of Dexter's own playbook. In 2013, over 10 million people watched Dexter Morgan become a lumberjack. They watched 8 years of their lives dissolve into what critics called the worst finale in television history. But here's what nobody knew. Showrunner Clyde Phillips had written something else entirely. Something the network refused to air. Something that would have cemented Dexter as the greatest drama ending of all time. For 7 years, Phillips was legally forbidden from discussing it. Contracts. Non-disclosure agreements. Corporate threats. But the question that haunted millions of fans remained unanswered: what was the real ending? And more importantly, why was it destroyed? The answer involves betrayal at the highest levels of Hollywood. And the karma? Oh, the karma was coming. But first, you need to understand just how badly everyone got played. To understand this betrayal, you need to go back to 2006. Dexter premiered and immediately broke every rule of television. A serial killer. As the hero. Audiences weren't supposed to root for him. But they did. By season 4, the show had achieved something unprecedented. The Trinity Killer storyline pulled in over 2.8 million viewers per episode. Critics called it perfect television. And Clyde Phillips, the man who built this empire from nothing, had a vision. He knew exactly how Dexter's story would end. He'd written it in his private notes before the show even aired. The ending was always there, waiting. A dark, poetic conclusion that would force audiences to confront everything they'd been cheering for. It was designed to make you feel guilty. To make you question why you ever loved a monster. But then, something changed. And that change would cost Phillips everything he'd built. Now, let me stop here. Because what I'm about to tell you changes everything you think you know about television production. After season 4, Clyde Phillips didn't just leave the show. It was pushed out. The official story? Creative differences. The real story? Phillips wanted to end Dexter at season 5. He believed the Trinity finale was the perfect setup for one final, devastating season. But Showtime saw something else. They saw dollar signs. The show was making them over $100 million per year in licensing alone. And it? Are you insane? So Phillips was given an ultimatum. Stretch the show to 8 seasons, water down the darkness, make Dexter more likable. Or leave. And here's where it gets personal. Phillips chose his artistic integrity. He walked away from millions. He watched strangers take his creation and slowly destroy it. Season after season. Getting worse. And worse. And worse. But he never spoke publicly. He couldn't. Until the seasons that followed were a masterclass in corporate destruction. New showrunners came in with different visions. Season 5 introduced Lumen, and audiences forgave the stumble. Season 6 brought the Doomsday Killer, and cracks began showing. By season 7, the show had lost almost 40% of its original viewership. But Showtime didn't care. The money was still flowing. International licensing. Merchandise. Streaming rights. They were bleeding the corpse dry. And the fans? The fans who had invested 8 years of emotional energy? They were about to be betrayed in a way that would spark internet rage for a decade. Because the writer's room for season 8 had one directive from the network. Keep him alive. Dexter Morgan could not die. Not because it served the story. Not because it made narrative sense. But because Showtime wanted to keep their options open for spin-offs, movies, revivals. Art was never the priority. It was always about the money. September 22, 2013. The finale aired. Dexter fakes his death, abandons his son, and becomes a lumberjack in Oregon. Alone. Staring into a camera. Credits roll. The internet exploded. Entertainment Weekly called it a catastrophic failure. IGN gave it a 4.5 out of 10. Fans who had waited 8 years felt trapped. Cheated. Betrayed. Social media became a war zone. The hashtag Dexter deserved better trend for 3 consecutive days. Cast members were asked about the ending in interviews and visibly cringed. Even Michael C. Hall, Dexter himself, gave responses that suggested profound disappointment. But through all of this chaos, one man remained silent. Clyde Phillips watched from the shadows. He couldn't speak. Then that was ironclad. But he was waiting for his moment. Because he knew something no one else did. The original ending. The real ending. And when those contracts finally expire. But that's not even the worst part. Because everything I've just told you? That's just the setup. The real betrayal goes so much deeper. In 2020, 7 years after the disaster, Clyde Phillips finally spoke. And what he revealed shattered everything. The original ending. The one he wrote before he was forced out. It is what was supposed to happen. Dexter gets caught. Not by some random accident. By everyone. Miami Metro finally connects the dots. The blood slides. The bodies. Years of evidence they'd been too blind to see. Dexter is arrested. He goes to trial. And in the final scene, Dexter Morgan is strapped to a gurney. Lethal injection. Execution. The camera pulls back to show the viewing gallery. And there, watching through the glass, are all of his victims. Everyone he ever killed. Staring at him. As the needle goes in, Dexter looks at them. And for the first time in 8 seasons, we see genuine fear in his eyes. He finally understands. He was never the hero. He was always the monster. And monsters get punished. Think about what that ending would have done. For 8 years, audiences rooted for Dexter. We wanted him to escape. We made excuses for his kills. We became complicit in murder. And in that final moment, with his victims staring at him, we would have been forced to confront ourselves. Why did we love him? Why did we want him to win? That ending wasn't just about Dexter facing justice. It was about us facing justice. Our complicity. Our moral blindness. It would have been one of the most powerful endings in television history. A psychological mirror held up to millions of viewers. And Showtime buried it. For money. They chose a lumberjack over art. They chose potential spin-offs over narrative integrity. And here's the thing. When Phillips revealed this in 2020, fans weren't just angry. They were devastated. Because now they knew what they'd been robbed of. The perfect ending existed. Someone just chose not to give it to them. Now you might think that's where the story ends. Corporate greed wins. Art losses. Fans suffer. But remember what channel you're watching. This is karma delivered. And the karma? It was already in motion. After the 2013 finale disaster, Showtime's reputation took a massive hit. Subscribers questioned whether the network could be trusted with long-running series. Other showrunners watched what happened to Phillips and became hesitant to bring their best ideas to Showtime. The network that had been home to groundbreaking television started losing talent to competitors. HBO, Netflix, Amazon. Shows that could have been Showtime originals went elsewhere. The executives who made the decision to extend Dexter and push out Phillips. They watched their competitors win Emmy after Emmy. While Showtime struggled to recapture its former glory. But that was just the beginning of their punishment. Because someone at the network had a guilty conscience. And they were about to make a very interesting phone call. And this is where I need you to pay attention. Because what happened next is the part nobody talks about. In 2020, after years of declining relevance, Showtime executives made a decision. A desperate decision. They called Clyde Phillips the man they had pushed out. The man whose vision they had destroyed. The man who had been silently watching them fail for almost a decade. They called him and said 3 words that must have tasted like ash in their mouths. We need you. They wanted a Dexter revival. They wanted Phillips to come back and fix what they had broken. And here's where it gets absolutely delicious. Phillips said yes. But not because he forgave them. Not because he needed the money. He said yes because they finally agreed to give him something he'd wanted for 14 years. Complete. Creative. Control. No network interference. No corporate mandates. No keeping Dexter alive for future spin-offs. Phillips was going to finish his story. His way. And Showtime was going to pay for it. Literally. 2021. Dexter New Blood premieres. Phillips finally gets to tell his ending. And he makes sure everyone knows exactly what he's doing. The revival opens with Dexter living under a false name. Jin Ling Sai. Hiding. Pretending to be normal. Used like the lumberjack ending suggested. But this time, there's no escape. Harrison, his abandoned son, finds him. The past catches up. And piece by piece, Dexter's carefully constructed new life falls apart. The show wasn't just a revival. It was a correction. Phillips systematically dismantled every safe choice the original finale had made. Dexter doesn't get to hide forever. Dexter doesn't get peace. Dexter doesn't get to pretend the monster never existed. And in the final episode, Harrison discovers the truth about his father. Everything. The kills. The cove. The victims. Years of blood that Dexter can never wash away. Harrison has to make a choice. And the audience has to watch. And here it is. The moment Clyde Phillips waited 14 years to deliver. Harrison aims the rifle at his father. Dexter, for the first time in his entire existence, tells his son the truth. He admits he's a monster. He admits he can never stop. He admits that Harrison deserves better. And then he says the words. Don't eat. Do what I couldn't do. Break the cycle. Harrison pulls the trigger. Dexter Morgan dies. Not as a hero. Not as a victim. As a monster, killed by the son he created. The cycle of violence ends exactly where it began. We's a child. It wasn't the execution scene Phillips originally wrote. But it was something even more powerful. Because Dexter's punishment came from his own legacy. His own blood. The monster didn't just get caught. The monster got judged by the only person whose judgment truly mattered. And as Dexter falls into the snow, there's no satisfaction in his eyes. Just acceptance. After all those years, the dark passenger finally lost. 14 years. That's how long Clyde Phillips waited for justice. He watched his creation get destroyed by corporate greed. He watched executives celebrate while fans suffered. He stayed silent through legal threats and public speculation. And in the end, he got something better than revenge. He got redemption. The New Blood finale received critical acclaim. Fans who had felt betrayed for almost a decade finally got closure. And those executives who chose money over art? They had to watch Phillips become a hero. They had to pay him to fix their mistake. They had to give him the creative control they'd stolen years before. That's not just karma. That's poetic justice on a level Dexter himself would appreciate. The lesson here isn't just about television. It's about patience. It's about integrity. It's about knowing that sometimes, the best revenge is simply outlasting the people who wronged you. Clyde Phillips didn't need to destroy anyone. He just needed to wait. Because karma always delivers. It just takes its time. Now you know the truth that was hidden for 7 years. A creator betrayed. An ending buried. And karma that took over a decade to arrive. If this story proved anything, it's that the best endings are worth waiting for. Hit subscribe if you want more stories of karma catching up to those who deserve it. And drop a comment telling me this: if you had been Clyde Phillips, Would you have waited 14 years for justice, or would you have gone public immediately? I want to know what you would have done.